Perfect.
All right, Shawn Poe here, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Wanted to jump on with you guys tonight so that we could go through some of the new distributor training, kind of what we walk through, and give you some ideas on what you can do and how to kind of launch your business, starting your business. I think the first thing that we really want to talk about is just kind of an introduction of what the team is, what we're about, kind of our mission, our vision. We definitely are a customer-centric, a customer-focused organization. We are not trying to talk anybody into doing this business that does not want to do the business. 80 to 85% of Michelle and I's business is customer-driven. And, you know, again, I love that for the simple fact that if people only see benefit in taking the product and not joining us on the business front, they don't see the business vision like we see it, you know, just be a customer. You pay the same price that we pay as distributors. And we want to work with the people that are ready to run, that are ready to lock arms and truly get this into as many people's bodies as possible. And, you know, we found initially, Michelle and I, that even though we weren't initially wanting to do the business, or that wasn't our mindset, we realized that in order to get this into a lot of people's bodies, we needed to have more distributors with us, telling more people just about the technology and how it can help people in their quest to live healthier lives. So that's really kind of the mindset of our group. We definitely want to help people along the business front. But again, we don't want to push people into a position that they're not wanting to be in. So we let people be who they want to be and build our business that way. Now, the first thing that I would do, regardless if you've done this or not, you're new to the business, you've been in a few months, a few years, whatever the case is really understanding why you want to do the business. You know, what is your burning desire to have change in your life, to do something different, whether it's for better health or it's for better finances, a combination of both. Some people, honestly, they're attracted to the positivity that our organization brings to them that they might not have in other aspects of their life. And they might truly never share this product or this business with another person, but they come to event after event and meeting after meeting because of the positivity and kind of the focus that we have in helping people live better lives. Now, for those of you that there is a financial reason that you're wanting to do this, I would really look and talk about with your sponsor or somebody else, with the person that enrolled you or somebody else in the upline, what exactly is it that you're looking to get out of this? Let's walk through the income disclosure sheet. Let's see at the levels from Pro 1 to Pro 10, what type of financial income are you looking for in the short term? And then if you looked out 3 to 5 years, you know, what are you looking for in 3 to 5 years? Because that does look different for different people. Some people are coming in and they're just looking for ultimately an extra couple $100 a month, very part-time income. Some people are looking for more supplemental income, maybe $1,000 or $2,000 a month. Some people, though, they're looking to replace full-time income, whether it's $5,000, $10,000, or even above that. And then, you know, ultimately the Pro 8, Pro 9, Pro 10 money, you're talking about $20, $30, $80,000 plus a month. So what are you looking to get out of this financially so that we can help roadmap? Because it does look different and you don't really have to follow the system as much if you're looking to get a couple extra $100 a month. But if you tell me that you're looking to get 1,000 or 2,000, we really need you to plug into the system, follow the steps that we've already proven to work, because we know if you replicate what's already been shown to work, you in turn can have success yourself and just follow the roadmap instead of reinventing the wheel. You'll have quicker success that way, and I promise you it'll be less headaches, and you cannot make the mistakes that those of us that have been doing this 5-6 years made in the past. So understand what those two components are. Both, you know, what's going to get you up in the morning or at the end of the day to do the things that you know you need to do on the days that you don't want to do it. For me, it was getting out of the corporate world. The higher I was climbing up in the corporate world, the more time they were expecting out of me and the less time I was with my family. And that's really our driving force initially, was to replace my income so that I could have more flexibility with my time, and, you know, be around for my kids' stuff as they grew up, because I was literally missing their lives as they grew up. Again, some of you, though, it's going to be more health focused, improving your health, improving certain maybe family members' health, leaving your impact on the world, whatever it is. Let's start to have those dialogues on what you're looking for to get out of this. Now, what I would then do if I'm talking with a new distributor is I'm wanting to initially see what your database is. Not thinking about necessarily who you should get this in front of, but just jotting down as many people's names that you can that come to mind, and giving somebody maybe, you know, 3 to 5 minutes to fill out as many names as possible to start that database. And what you'll find is that a lot of people, you know, after 2 or 3 minutes, they're starting to not have any more people come to mind. So we then need to start, you know, asking them, you know, who did you work with? Who do your kids go to school with? The parents that you know, different activities that you have going on in your life. You know, who's associated in church groups that you might be with, or other networking groups, things like that. My daughter just came in from dance.
Hi.
So she's jumping on board here. When I get back to my house, I'll jump onto my main computer. But, you know, finding that database and working with somebody when they're new to help them think of people. And this is always a growing list, you guys. This database isn't a one-time thing. You're going to have people pop into your head all the time that aren't on your database. And I believe that there's a reason these people pop into our head. And sometimes we don't know why God's putting them in front of us. But if we just kind of are cognizant and we're aware that these people are coming into our life for a certain reason at that period of time, maybe that is the time that you need to reach out and reconnect with that person. Not necessarily bringing Lifevantage to the table, but just reconnecting, finding out what's going on with their life, things like that. So your database at first, don't do like Michelle and I did, that we were prejudging people and thinking this person would be an amazing distributor, this person would be an amazing customer. Just write down the names and don't think about, you know, the business portion of it. We'll get to that component here in a bit, but all you're ultimately doing is looking to generate as big of a list as possible, so that, you know, when a new person is sitting there and they contact, let's say, their first 15 people, unless you come in being a professional network marketer, it'll probably feel a little bit uncomfortable at first, inviting them to hear the information, or getting them to a meeting with you, or listening to a webinar, whatever the case is. And if you're not great or good at doing it at first, and you go through 15 people and they all are, you know, kind of hesitant, telling you no, you might be deflated. Whereas, you know, if that list is 15 to 20 people, whereas if that list is, you know, 100 people and you have 15 people telling you no, it's not as big of a deal, because you know you have 85 more people that you're wanting to get this in front of. So don't limit yourself. Don't prejudge what you think other people's decision's going to be, or if they would be a good customer or, you know, a good distributor. All we are here to do is present the information and be messengers, right? And what they choose to do with the information is completely up to them. But we don't want to take something off the table that may be a perfect fit in their life when we're not sharing both the product and the business. And I'll give you a good example of this. Michelle and I, when we first got going, you know, we both had great corporate jobs. We had been successful with our online business, 2 little kids, our plates were full. You know, nobody from the outside would have pictured that our burning desire was to get me out of my current job, and that we were willing to work our butts off to do it. So if Nikki would have just presented the products to us, we probably would have signed up to just be customers. But the reality is she gave us all the information to let us choose where it fit in with our lives And we made that decision to be distributors. We weren't planning on doing a big business with us, but we still had the information and enough information to make the decision on where it fits in with our lives. And I would honestly, and we'll talk a little bit more about the invite here in a second, but I would honestly tell my friends, it may not be for you, but I at least want you to know what Michelle and I are up to. So, you know, we weren't spending a ton of time on the business side. And this is many months down the road. I can tell you at first, we made the mistake of prejudging what people would want. So we would look at our list and so these 4 people, they're just customers. We're just going to tell them about the product and the benefits of the products. Whereas this person, you know, they're going to knock it out of the park. They're going to want to lock arms with us and do the business. And what we found was the people that we thought would want to do the business with us wanted nothing to do with it. And sometimes the people that we least expected, that we thought would only be interested in the health side, wanted to do the business with us. So when we stopped prejudging and we just opened up the information to everybody and let them choose what was right for them, that's when our business really started to take off. So now the next kind of step, what you're going to want to do is working with the person that enrolled you or somebody else in the organization, is take that database now that you've got lots of names. And if you didn't come up with, you know, more than 15 or 20, take your phone out and open up your contacts, okay? And start writing down the names, because I know every single person on this has more than 15 or 20 people in their phone contact list. And if they're not, you know, a valuable enough person for us to share these health benefits with, you know, why are they in our phone to begin with? So don't prejudge, just start jotting down the names. And the second component of this, what I want you to do now with that database, once it's expanded a little bit, is start a second column next to their name and start to think about where this would fit in with their life, because this is going to help us with the invite. So some people, for example, you're thinking of them because they have certain health benefits, and that's going to be the majority of, I think, people that we're talking with. There's going to be some sort of connection that we have, that we know something's going on with health in their life, with somebody that they know's life, and we can start to get the information in front of them that way. So, for example, one of my friends that I went to college with, everybody in his life that I ever met in his family, by the time that they were 40, they had some sort of heart disease going on in their life. And so, you know, what we were looking at is heart health. Okay. And that was with Michelle too. You know, Nikki didn't know this, but her dad actually died of a heart attack at the age of 42. And so heart health is extremely important to her. But that's what I'm writing right next to Ryan's name in my database, is heart health. Now, somebody else, let's say Jared, for example, another friend of mine from college, very entrepreneurial. Everything that Jared does in the business world seems to turn to gold. And so next to Jared's name, I'm writing, you know, very successful in business. Everything that he does seems to turn to gold. And I'm continuing to go down my database and fill in a second column next to the name as far as why. Now, some people you're going to get to that you have no really reason why you put down their name. You just did. And I'll tell you how to work with them here in a second. Let me switch computers here real quick. It'll be a little bit easier on the recording when people watch this back. So just 1 second on that. All right. Okay. Hopefully that is. Oh. I am going to move this phone over here so we don't get feedback. All right, we should be good to go now. Let's see. Thumbs up if you can hear me again.
We're good. We're good. We're good. Okay. So the database, that second column is extremely important because this is what you're going to use to invite people to see the information down the road. So if there is somebody that you can't think of that reason, what we're wanting to do is reconnect with them. So having a conversation, meeting up with them, maybe for coffee if you're in the same town, or having a phone call, or Skype or whatever, FaceTime, just reconnecting with them. It might be Facebook Messenger, where you're asking them questions and what's going on with their life, what's changed, what they're happy with, what they're not happy with. What they're doing for fun, if they have kids, what their kids are up to. But I promise you, if you ask enough questions, there's going to be something that's going to trigger you to have a reason to get the information in front of them. So you ask enough questions, you make it about the other person, reconnect. It's all about relationships first. You're going to have a reason to follow up with them. I wouldn't jump into it. Let's say you're reconnecting with somebody that it's been 5 years since you've really talked to them. I wouldn't necessarily on phone call number one or messenger number one throw out the business or Lifevantage. I'm asking questions and reconnecting, reestablishing that relationship so I can come back at a later point in time and say, hey, you've really been on my mind. We were talking the other day on Messenger, and you were saying how your back's been hurting for, a year now. If I had something that potentially could help, would you want to know about it? Right. And you've been on my mind. I'd be a bad friend if I didn't bring this up. But we're not bringing it up necessarily on day one, because in my mind, the relationship is always the number one important thing about everything that we're doing in life. Okay. And we do not want this business, these products, or anything that we're doing to get in the way or ruin that relationship. That's sometimes where network marketing is getting a bad name or a bad reputation, is when people are putting their own needs in front of other people's needs. So truly make this about the other person. Find a reason why you want to get this information in front of them. If you're struggling with this part, definitely reach out to us, reach out to one of us and say, I've got my database started. Can you walk me through the next portion? Can you help me get that reason why I need to connect with somebody? And we can walk through, 15, 20 examples and talk through, what about that person would this have an impact in their lives? And then this will be the last section that we talk about. I think this will give you kind of a good segue into a breaking spot, and not make this too long of a segment tonight for people to listen to the replays. But I want to talk about what you do with that information then once you have that database kind of set up. And the most important thing now is getting the information in front of them, right? Into those people that we now have a reason why we would want to talk to them about Lifevantage, either on the business side or the product side. And again, we're going to share all the information, but we want to have a segue in as to why we thought about it for them, not about why we want them to watch it, okay? It's not about us, it's about them. So you're taking your database and you're taking that reason why. You're going to find 2 or 3 different times that work for you and somebody in your upline to do either an in-person meeting, in-home meetings, or a webinar via Zoom like this. We can do those whenever you guys want. If we're not available, we'll find somebody else that is within our organization that's willing to help reach out. But you want to find 2 or 3 times that are good on your schedule, and just mark that off. Let the calendar be your boss. So let's say, I'm talking with Danny and we're setting up him as a new distributor, and Danny says, I'm super busy this week, but we want to get this done within the next 7 days. So let's say, I've got some free time on Sunday night, and I've also got a little bit of time that we can set aside on Thursday night. Okay, so that's great. We've got 2 different times now that are set up where we're going to do, let's say, a Zoom meeting, because Danny lives in an area where it takes an hour and a half for people to commute to get to a centralized location. He wants to do his first launch via a Zoom. Okay. So we're setting up one for Sunday night, 7 o'clock Eastern. We're setting a follow-up one at 8 o'clock Eastern on Thursday. And here's what we're doing, is we're going down that database. And let's say the first person on Danny's database is Gigi. And next to Gigi, she's super into improving people's health. And, she's on this quest through Tony Robbins to help people out in their life. And so Danny, he's taking that and he's just kind of filling in the blanks. Hey, Gigi, I'm super excited about this company that I just found out about it. I know that you're really into people's health and improving their lives through personal development and growth with all the stuff I've seen you doing with Tony Robbins. There's this ABC primetime video that I'm talking about and showing people on Sunday. Are you around Sunday at 7 o'clock where you could hop on a quick meeting so that you can see this ABC primetime video? It's going to absolutely blow your mind. Or you don't even have to necessarily get into that it's an ABC primetime video. So for me, for example, I was just calling up my friends. I gave you the 2 examples of Ryan and Jared and just simply saying this. Dude, Ryan, I know that ever since I've met you, every single person in your life, by the time that they've turned 40, they've had some sort of heart disease. I'm talking about something on Sunday night that's going to blow your mind. You've got to check it out. Are you free Sunday at 7 o'clock? And for my friends, it was simply a yes or no. If they told me that they were free, they were going to be on, right? There's that core group of people that are there to support you and they'll help you out. Now, some people you don't necessarily have that close a relationship with that, if they're free, they're going to jump on. So you do have to be, very cognizant and kind of work through how you're inviting people to see the information. But, for my other friend, Jared, let's say I just simply want to find out if he's going to be free because I'm having a meeting Sunday at 7 o'clock. So I'm asking Jared, I might send him a text. Hey, Jared, what are you up to Sunday at 7? Okay. If Jared tells me nothing, he's going to be coming to my meeting or he's going to be on that webinar. Okay. He's a good enough friend of mine that if I just asked him simply that, what are you doing Sunday at 7? And his response is nothing. I'm going to get him. But let's say Jared says, super busy kids, they're back to school and we've actually got the first volleyball practice for my daughter and I'm busy. What's up? My next question would be, because I scheduled a second meeting for Thursday, is, hey, no problem. I know it's a busy time of year for me too. My kids are jumping back into school. What are you actually doing Thursday at 8 o'clock? Okay, I'm giving them a second. I haven't told them a thing about what I'm talking about yet, but I'm just asking about his availability. So if Jared then tells me, hey, 8 o'clock, works, that's one of the only nights this week that work, what's up? What's going on? Well, there's this webinar I'm having. It would mean a ton to me. I respect your opinion as a business owner. You're one of the sharpest dudes I know. I need you to be on to give me some feedback on Thursday. Can you do that for me? Okay. And that I'm asking for help from him. And most of my close network of friends, they're willing to help me with information like that. Now, again, though, it might be where those aren't the reasons you're inviting somebody. Let's say on your list you have somebody there that diabetes is the reason that you thought of them. And you're calling them up, or you're asking them, first of all, if they're free Sunday, if they're not Sunday, if they are Thursday. And then you're saying, I know that you've been struggling with diabetes. There's something that I got to show you. We're going to be doing a webinar Thursday at 8 o'clock. You got to be on it. It's going to blow your mind on this technology that's coming out, or something to that effect. Okay. Whatever personality or wording fits for you. Some of the stuff that I say, Michelle definitely can't say, because her friends would look at her like, oh my gosh, you're selling me something, or this totally isn't you, what's up? And the brick wall starts to form before you've even said anything. So, kind of figure out, listen to different people's techniques, ask different people, whether it's on the Facebook pages or when you're at one of the corporate events, ask them what they're saying, ask them what's working for them, and kind of combine or mesh different things that are working for different people into what would work for you and sound like you. Now, my friends, when I first was calling them up, 2 things that they did not have in the characterizations in their mind of what I knew about were nutraceuticals and network marketing. Okay, so if I started opening up my mouth and talking about superoxide dismutase and NRF2 and network marketing, they would not consider me an expert on any of those fields. I was a guy they went to college with, most of them. We drank beer and watched football together, okay? I was the guy that went and got my finance degree and then my MBA. I knew a lot of business stuff, but definitely wasn't in the area of network marketing or nutraceuticals. So I wasn't bringing up those things into the conversation because I was not, in their mind, the expert in that, even though I knew a lot more about that than they did, right? So don't freak people out with saying things that aren't you, that aren't your personality. This isn't, where I'm trying to give you guys a written script or anything like that. Some stuff you're going to get off of a conversation and be like, man, that didn't go how I want. But use that as a learning tool. Use that as a learning lesson to then figure out, if I could have had that conversation over again, what would I have said differently, or what would have sounded more like me, or what would have made that more about the other person than myself. And I promise you, there's no mess that we can't clean up down the road. The problem that most people have is fear more than anything else. And so be brave, get out of your comfort zone. And I promise you, as you get better at this, it'll feel more natural. You'll go from bad to good and then good to great. And when you go from good to great and this just starts coming out naturally, your posture is going to be super high. Your belief is going to be super high. And then we can go back and talk to those people maybe we talked to the first couple months that we didn't do it as well or as polished as we want to. And you can go back to them and beg for forgiveness. Hey, I tried to get this in front of you a couple of months ago. I blew it. And I care about you so much. I want you to know what you said no to. I want to do this right. And here's why you need to hear the information. Okay. And we can go back a couple months down the road and get this back in front of people. People don't come off of your database. Okay. The only time that people come off of your database is when they're in your business as a distributor. Some of the people that we're signing up today, you guys, we've talked to them for 4, 5, 6 years. And some of them, it might take 2 or 3 years to even get them on as customers. And then another couple years to get on as distributors, because at the point in time that we talked to them, either we didn't do it right, or more likely, it just wasn't the right time in their life for them to be open to it. And things change in people's lives, right? Have you ever had the experience where you got a new promotion or you got a new position in a company and you might not have been satisfied with where you were or what you were doing before that promotion or that job change, and then you thought everything was going to change, this was going to be the greatest thing ever, and you were going to live this utopian life now because of this change in your life. And then all of a sudden, 6 months down the road, it isn't, necessarily that the grass was any greener. It was just different from what you were doing, and kind of, you set back into the, oh my gosh, I wish I was doing something else or something different. This isn't as glamorous, right? Well, if you were sharing something about a business opportunity with somebody and they had gotten that raise or that promotion or that job change, do you think their signal and their willingness to even listen and evaluate the information would be the same as if they were, 6 months down the road and kind of the shininess wore off of it and that honeymoon period had ended? It's 2 completely different chapters in that person's life. So that's why I'm saying the relationship is always the most important thing. And we can always go back to drip on the person and share with them again, as long as that relationship is intact. If we start calling them 5 days a week, 3 times a day, and we're just constantly, this and that about the business or the products, and it isn't the right time, that's when we start to hurt those relationships. So anytime that you feel that the relationship is being a little bit threatened or damaged because of this business or how you're communicating it, pull back. Please, please, please pull back. I guarantee you, in the long run, for the health of your business and the relationships that you have with people, it's better to do this over the course of time and maintain those relationships. So, ton of information that I just went through. Maybe I'll take 5 minutes here or so if you guys have any questions or any comments or something you want me to further clarify. But just think of this as a 10,000 foot overview of 4 or 5 things that we can start to put into place to help you grow your business. But the most vital thing is just you taking some sort of action to move your business forward some step. Okay. For some of you, you want to run with this. Some of you want to walk with this and dip your toe in the water. We have Gigi. She flew in like a cannonball off the high dive and just, she was in. But we know that everybody doesn't run at the same pace. And so we want to be respectful of that with you and our relationship with you as well, too. So don't ever look at somebody else and what they're doing and compare it against what you're doing. Run your own race. Let us know what that race is and how we can help you along the way. But I would take these 4 things that we talked about now, your why financially and just what's going to motivate you. Start to uncover that. The database, start to database if you haven't. Start to put the reason why the database and set up a couple different times that we can help you do at least that first meeting where you can start to get this in front of people, and we'll help you along the way. You do not have to be an expert. This is a business that our success is directly tied to helping you be successful. So we need to hear from you on what you need help with and the next steps for you. And maybe you're saying, in August or the next 2 weeks, I'm not doing anything. Okay. I'm not going to pick up the phone. I'm not going to database. I'm not going to invite. Let us know that too. It's okay. We want you to be you. And if this isn't for you, I don't want you to be doing something you don't want to be doing. So let's just figure out another time that we connect and you say, September 15th is really when I want to kick this off. Well, let's schedule a time for September 15th. Let's schedule another follow-up time for September 20th or whatever it is. But let's get out our calendars and just commit to ourselves that we're going to take that initial step in building our business and put some dates on the calendar, and then we'll put the action and the how behind it, if that sounds good with you guys. So I'll open it up. Just unmute yourself if you have a question. If we don't have questions, I'll get you guys the recording and we can kind of move forward with your nights. Super appreciative that you took 35 minutes out to jump on real quick tonight as well. But I will shut up, I promise now. And if you have questions, let me know.
No, I think for me is I've been showing the video. Yep. And everybody is very interested in it. And I think my thing is the closing of it, how to
do that.
And I did this, go into the site and share this thing, put their name in and send it to them via email, send it to them via text as well.
Yep.
It's just that at that point,
what do you do next?
Yeah, exactly. Because they want to commit, and then when they saw the price, they were like, I don't know. And then I said, well, you need to start with the $120 one with the probiotics and the Nerf 1, Nerf 2 one. I think that's the best one for you, and and whatnot. And I used the thing as, hey, it's $120 a month. That's less than your cell phone bill. I know that for sure. And
and my biggest suggestion, Danny, is honestly, don't try to do this alone. Get the third-party validation, because you might say the exact same thing that I say or that Gigi says or somebody else says, but coming from a third party, I honestly, I think psychology-wise, because our friends and our family know so much about us, that when we start talking about something that they think we don't know about, those walls start to come up and you have less success than if they hear it from a complete stranger that validates what you've already said. So what I would do, after somebody's seen the ABC primetime video, and you're following up with what they like about it and you're having that conversation, is when they ask a question, when they first start asking questions, be like, that is an amazing question. You know what? I'm super new to this and I want to make sure that your questions are answered right. Hold on a second. And you've already pre-set up somebody that's available that you can three-way call, and you can immediately get on the phone and be like, hey, Gigi, this is my friend Shawn. He just saw the ABC primetime video. I don't want to take a ton of your time, but he had a great question about why reducing oxidative stress, or, why, if this is so good, why hasn't everybody heard about it, or what it is, and just getting that validation from somebody else. And they'll be able to, I promise you, close a lot more people a lot quicker than if you're trying to do it on your own. And people are not saying no to the price. I promise you they're not. Very, very few people are saying no to the price. What they're saying no to is the value that they have associated with that price, okay? Because in my mind, when somebody's paying $120 or $200 on cable, and they don't have enough money to improve their health with Nerf 2 and a probiotic and Nerf 1, they just are valuing their cable more than this product line. Okay. And so it's getting that value into them and them understanding. And maybe at first then, that they're still struggling with $120. And what you're saying is, hey, what I'm going to do then is just, let's start with NRF2. Okay. This is important to get into your body. The science shows it works 100% of the time. But again, you're not delivering this message. This is me. And going back with them is, let's start for the first 3 or 4 months to get this into your body and start you down that path. And then if you see positive benefits, we can then look to add some of those other products down the road. And then they've gone from 120 to 40 and they're like, oh, absolutely. Let's get going on that.
Okay.
But don't do it on your own is my biggest suggestion.
Okay. Will do. Thank you.
You bet. You bet. You're muted, Gigi.
Any questions, April?
Cool.
Nope, I don't have any. I listened to all of it.
Awesome. All right. Anything else, Danny?
No, sir. I'll just get to with Gwen there, and if any more questions, and we'll go from there.
And feel free to reach out to me too. I'm here to support you guys however I can. I'll be absolutely honest. June, July, and August were crazy months for us, but we've really pulled back on the travel that we're doing in September. We're going to put together some really cool tools for you guys, some videos and stuff too. That's going to have trainings like this that people can access at any point in time. If you're like, I need a refresher on the database, and how to look at that, we'll have a section that's just database and inviting, stuff like that. So we're here to help. Let us know how we can help. And whatever the next step is for you in the business, that's what I would just suggest that you guys commit to tonight. Is maybe that's the first step, is just first meeting and getting the information in front of the first group of people. Or maybe it's, like Danny was saying, is being more comfortable with how to close people, resolve concerns, and use and integrate third-party validation into his business. But, it looks different. We're all going to be in different chapters in our business. So just look to take that next step, whatever it is. If you're having trouble identifying what that next step is, reach out to us and we can help you roadmap out what it is. And really, what area you need to be focusing on.
So, Shawn, just to recap a little bit, you don't suggest we show them the ABC video at all? Just go ahead and invite and then do it at that point on a Zoom call?
You definitely can. You can. Now, sharing that ABC primetime video one-on-one, the challenge that a lot of people are going to have is they're working this very part-time. And if you're trying to build the business in a couple hours a week, one-on-one, it's going to take you forever to get through 20, 30 people, right? Where, you and I, we have a little bit more time freedom and flexibility. And I like the one-on-ones because it allows you to tailor the message specifically for that person. We're still sharing the exact same information, but how we're presenting it might be tweaked just a little bit based off of what's going on in that person's life. If I'm sharing this with 20 people on a webinar, I can't pinpoint those certain things. I might highlight a couple things more, but I can't really get into the nuts and bolts. So one-on-one's definitely fine. Share the ABC video. You do a great job of then turning it into the third-party validation and getting us on the phone. So no, absolutely.
Okay.
One-on-ones, small group meetings, in-home meetings, webinars. I wouldn't necessarily, as a first look, bring somebody to a meeting that's going to have 100 people, because sometimes the message gets lost in the shuffle of the madness. But those are good opportunities for a second, a third look, or bringing distributors to get them remotivated.
Okay. And I'm just trying to come up with questions that maybe, everybody's getting questioned on, and we can get some clarity right here.
Yeah.
What about, when you show them the video and it's, why is it not on the market? Why didn't they take all the money that they're paying people and just do marketing and get it out there?
Yeah.
And I know the answer, but, I want to hear it from you and, so these people can understand, because I'm sure it's going to be confronted with them also because you got some marketing people themselves that are hearing this, and that's the, one thing they want to know about.
Yeah. And first I would compliment them that it's a great question. Okay. Great question. Okay. Some of you had the exact same question when you saw that video. You're like 2005. Come on. If this is such a big deal, why haven't I heard about it? And I had that impression. And so I flat out say that, I had the exact same question. What I found was back in 2005, this was a tiny biotech company. Yes, it was publicly traded, but it was a group of scientists. It wasn't businessmen. They tried to put it in the retail channels like CVS and Rite Aid and Walgreens, places like that, but it sat on the shelves. The old bottle actually used to say, clinically proven to reduce oxidative stress. Let me know the last time that you've had anybody that walk into a store looking for something to reduce oxidative stress, right? That isn't reality. Nobody's doing that now a decade later. And so this product, because it's so new and so different, the technology behind it, it has a story that needed to be told. And reluctantly, the board of directors and Dr. Joe McCord, they decided to test person-to-person distribution versus retail, because retail was making them go bankrupt. Less than a bottle per store per month is going to make you go bankrupt. I don't care how good it is. And so what they found was that it was outselling the retail channels by 300% in 6 months. So they decided to completely pull it off the shelves to tell the story. And now instead of paying for retail shelves to have it eye level on a CVS shelf, they're paying people like me and you to talk about it, right? Because word of mouth advertising is the most vital form of advertising and the most beneficial for any company regardless. And then, if I'm doing this as third-party validation for somebody else, I might bring up the examples of brick and mortar stores going away, right? Who would have thought a decade ago that Radio Shack would no longer be in existence, that JCPenney's and Sears would be on the verge of bankruptcies, that, Blockbuster would be completely out of the picture nationwide. Okay, brick and mortar stores are going away more and more so. And I'm getting them to shake their head. I'm getting them to say, yes, I know what you're talking about. And then I'm using an example like Amazon. And I'm saying, what is Amazon, right? All Amazon is a bunch of distribution centers where they take a group of products and they ship them from the distribution center to somebody's house. That's the exact same thing that we're doing here. Is we have a new technology that's patented, that has science backing it, and we're shipping it from the distribution center to your house. Okay, we're going away from, in the business world, this brick and mortar environment more and more every single day. Would you not agree? And so I'm just getting them to, kind of see the picture. And then I might bring up another thing. Like for me, my next question was, if this is such a big deal and it's so important, why aren't pharmaceutical companies developing drugs that do the same thing? And the fact of the matter is that they were and they are today. They're spending billions of dollars to develop synthetic things. And there's actually one synthetic that's on the marketplace. It does over $1 billion a quarter and has for the last 3 years. It costs people over $50,000 a year to take, and their own science that they funded, when they compare it head to head against protandim at activating this pathway NRF2, it's half as potent. So it costs 100 times more, it's half as potent, and it's a drug. What do you think most people are going to look at and put into their bodies? So those are the sorts of things that I've learned over the last 6 years that you aren't going to be able to rattle off blindfolded. And that's why third-party validation. You might say the same thing, but, I'm bazooka-proof in this business, you guys. There isn't anything somebody's going to say to me that I'm going to walk away and be like, they're right. This is a snake oil. It doesn't work. This is a pyramid scheme. The business doesn't work. There isn't anything that they're going to come after me with that I can't either find the answer out or I know how to directly respond to it immediately.
Personally, I agree with you. I believe it's bazooka proof along with you. And I can't wait to be as good as you at doing this. And thank you for all of your knowledge and time that you're providing for us. Believe me, I wish I could just, go into that little brain of yours and have it all come over here. But these are questions I know that we're all getting and, we'll be getting. And it's good information, especially be able to go back and review. So maybe someday you just want to sit and talk.
Yes, absolutely. And we
You
can
know?
schedule sometimes too. I think in September, it would be good to do a Zoom meeting where we get 50 or 60 people on and there's no agenda. It's just a Q&A. And we go through, okay, what's the next question? What's the next question? And we just spend time where you guys are spitting stuff out. And keep in mind, you guys, I had no experience doing this when we first started. I didn't know the first thing about any of this. What I did was I followed a system that had been proven to work by other people that I wanted to get what they had. And I did it over and over again. And Michelle did it over and over again. And our first meetings were atrocious. The thing was the key to our success was that we did it long enough to get polished and to be able to answer the questions and to be able to develop as a leader. But initially, you know, Michelle, she would turn bright red because anytime that she gets, you know, excited about something, she starts getting splotchy. I didn't have the first idea how this business works. So I was standing up just talking about some sort of business. Dr. Mark Gordon that we're working with, he's drawing like mitochondria and cells on a board. And, you know, if we looked back and looked at the success that we've had based off of what we did initially, you guys would have never believed it. But the thing of it is we took that next step and we were uncomfortable for a short period of time. And then as we got better at one thing, we expanded what we were doing to be a little bit more uncomfortable and just kept expanding until we got good at what we were doing. But we always knew a little bit more than the person that we were talking to, right? 99.9% of doctors right now don't know about NRF2. They don't know about NRF1. They don't know about the importance of Axio with ADHD and autism, okay? And they probably won't until more drugs are in the parking lot or you know, being brought through the parking lot by drug reps into their offices. So have the confidence that you already know 99.9% and you know a little bit more than the person you're sharing this with. And you have a whole host of experts that really do know exactly from A to Z what we're talking about. And you can bring them on the phone or on a Zoom or a text at any point in time to help you out.
Speaking of children, you mentioned with the Axio, what about putting them on a Protandim also when they're younger? Should they just be, is there a certain age that you start them with? Start them on a half of one? Is it okay for the Axio for them to take and drink in a 12-ounce bottle of water?
Yeah. So what I tell people is just my experience with it and what we've chosen to do with our children. It's going to be a personal decision. We actually had access to Dr. McCord when we first got started, and we asked him if it was okay for our kids to be taking it. They were probably 5 and 7 at that point in time when we first started. So they were young. And his response was, in theory, their body should be producing everything that it needs at this point in their life. Their genes should be in the right position. What's on should be on and what's off should be off, right? It's typically about the age of 20 that these things start to decline and you would need to reactivate this pathway. Now, with that being said, that's in theory. That isn't practical life. So what he told us was, there's nothing that's going to negatively impact their health by taking it. It might not be doing any good because their body's already working optimally. But what if there's something going on in their body that you don't know about today that is wrong already that this could help with? So anybody under the weight of 100 pounds, roughly 90 to 100, he said, give them half a pill. And anybody above 100, give them a full pill. And so that's what we started our kids off at. At that point in time, we didn't have Axio. We didn't have NRF1. So we gave them a half a pill of Protandim in the mornings before school. Now they both take a full pill. Axio, even up until, a few months ago, our younger daughter, who's now 10, we weren't giving her the caffeinated one. We gave her the red Axio. And I can tell you, we notice a difference when they are consistently taking it and when they're not. Our older daughter, she's been doing the caffeinated for a few years. What I can tell you is kids with ADHD and autism, and again, this is not a drug. It's not to treat, prevent, cure, mitigate any disease. But kids that have autism, caffeine affects them very, very differently. And if you look at things like Ritalin's speed. Okay, they're using speed to get their bodies back down into a normal state. So it has almost an opposite effect with them. And so we've seen some people have dramatic success by combining the caffeinated and the decaf together. So maybe they're doing a half a stick and 16 ounces of water, and that's what the kid's bringing to school instead of juice or instead of just a water bottle. So I would highly encourage, and my kids are on the products.
Great. That's good information. Thank you very much. With that said, anybody else have any other questions? Shawn, thank you so much for your time this evening.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We're going to definitely be back in touch with you.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Shawn.
Awesome. So thank you guys for taking time. I will get the recording stopped and just let us know how we can help. Don't try to do the business alone. Our success is directly tied to helping you be successful, and we want all of you guys to have, what you're looking for out of this, whatever that is. So we will talk soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.